Good morning. I'm at-large Councilmember Anita Bonds, Chairperson of the Committee on Executive Administration and Labor. The time is 11:03 a.m. on Friday, June 16th, 2023. We are meeting virtually via Zoom to hold a public roundtable on the Office of Youth Programs housed within the Department of Employment Services. The Office of Youth Programs develops and administers workforce development programs for district youth ages 14 to 24. The office provides occupational skills training, work experience, academic enrichment, and life skills training to facilitate the development of work habits and skills that are essential for success in the workplace. Programs housed within the Office of Youth Programs include Mayor Marion Barry Summer Youth Employment Program, Mayor's Opportunity Scholarship, School Year Internship Program, Mayor Marion Barry Youth Leadership Institute, Middle School Exploration Program, Out of School Program, Pathways for Youth or Young Adults, Career Opportunities, of course, the Office of Youth Program Roadmaps, Grants Opportunities, and the East of the River Career Pathways Program. Today's roundtable is limited in scope. It is open to our government witnesses only. While we may discuss many of the programs, we will primarily focus on the Mayor Marion Barry Summer Youth Employment Program. This will be the second of several public roundtables that will inform the public on the administration and outcome of the Summer Youth Employment Program, otherwise known as MBSYEP. At our first roundtable, exactly 3 months ago, we discussed the importance of the program as one of the district's most successful opportunities for engaging and supporting our young people. The program gives our youth the opportunity to get work experience, to explore possible careers, and responsibly earn and manage their own wages. Dr. Morris Hughes, the director of the Department of Employment Services, explained the timeline for applying and participating in the program and how participants are matched with their host sites. She also described the different industries that participate, including district and federal government agencies, schools, local community-based organizations, and private sector employers. Additionally, we discussed the program's budget and the possibility of providing free food, that is lunch, for our participants. I'm now proud to say that through the council's budget legislation passed on May 30th and June 13th, and especially with the advent of putting in place emergency bill that mirrors the budget, we protected our annual investment of over $27 million for the Youth Employment Program and authorizes DOES to provide food for the participants. Today's roundtable, part 2 of our series, will give us a chance to check in with the director as we approach the program start date on June 26. We will discuss the progress in implementing the program from application to orientation, learn about this year's host sites, and ask about what our youth can expect from the program this summer. Do we have any? Okay, we're going to solo this today with the director, and I want to thank her very much for joining us. And we will now call her forth and invite her testimony. And first, I'll swear her in, of course. All right. Director, if you raise your right hand. All right. Do you swear and affirm that your testimony and any statements that you make before us today to be truthful and complete?
I do.
All right. You may begin when you're ready.
Well, good morning, Chairperson Bonds, any council members that may join us, and staff of the Committee of the Executive. Sorry. Thank you for the opportunity to appear before you to discuss the work of the Office of Youth Programs and the DC Department of Employment Services as a whole. Our mission at DOES is to connect district residents to job seekers and employers to opportunities and resources that empower fair, safe, and effective working communities. With the long weekend ahead of us in celebration and remembrance of Juneteenth, I'd like to emphasize our commitment at DOES. To advancing equity and to say how proud I am of this agency's role in addressing the lasting impacts of systematic racism on Black communities. June is a busy month for DOES as we prepare for the launch of the 44th Marion S. Berry Summer Youth Employment Program, which kicks off June 26th. Thank you, Councilmember Bonds, for giving us an opportunity today to shine a well-timed spotlight on this program and more broadly of the work of the entire Office of Youth Programs. I would also like to thank all of the council offices who have signed up as MBSYEP host sites this summer. Thank you, Councilmember McDuffie, Councilmember Bonds, Councilmember Parker, and Councilmember Trayon White. The Office of Youth Programs develops and administers workforce development programs for district youth ages 14 to 24. We offer 3 core programs to develop life skills, work experience, and leadership skills for young people. This includes the year-round youth program, the Marion Berry Youth Leadership Institute, and MBSYEP. Now, the year-round youth program consists of the East of the River Careers Pathways program and the school year internship program. The East of the River program was designed for youth ages 18 to 24 and wards 7 and 8 who are faced with barriers to employment and to higher education. Participants attend training courses that focus on work readiness and financial literacy, industry recognized credentialing, and internship experience. As of June 15th, we have 263 youth enrolled, which is 88% of our recruitment goal for the year. Youth are getting exposed to case management services, wages to help support themselves and their families, and internship experiences to increase their marketability in high growth industry sectors. Our application for the 2023-2024 school year internship program opened on June 1st, and the deadline to apply is Saturday, July 1st, 2023. This is a great opportunity for district youth ages 14 to 21 to gain enriching and constructive internship experience through subsidized placements in the public and private sector. Last year, over 3,000 youth applied for the school year internship program, and over 1,000 youth participated in the program. The internship lasts 9 months and will start in October and run through May of next year. One new program update that I'm excited to share, and thanks to participant feedback, we've created a portal through which the application can be accessed and key program information can be viewed. The Marion Berry Youth Leadership Institute is a year-round leadership training and development program for district youth ages 14 to 19. This training model emphasizes practical hands-on experience and a holistic approach to leadership development. A special component of this program, the MBYLI Summer Intensive Training Program, will take place this summer on the campus of Catholic University. This offers youth a great opportunity to participate in programming on a college campus with college overnight experiences built in periodically throughout the summer. Also, after a few years of COVID-related interruptions, we're thrilled to share that the international travel component for the program will be back this year. The Marion Berry Summer Youth Employment Program, which is previously mentioned, is headed into its 44th summer. Will provide constructive summer work experience to over 14,000 young people at over 700 host sites. The number of host sites increased over 30% this year, and we're grateful to have these additional partners join us. Next week, we will have 2 events related to the launch of summer program. First, on June 24th, we'll be hosting a smart trip distribution fare car distribution at the Department of Employment Services headquarters to ensure that all participants that are not part of the Kids Ride Free program have access to the Metro. Then on June 26th, we'll have our kickoff event at Catholic University. We're looking forward to an exciting and impactful summer here at DOES. I'd like to recognize our team in the Office of Youth Programs for their hard work and their dedication to making these fantastic opportunities happen. Our interim director of the Office of Youth Programs, Hakeem Rogers, has just returned from a trip to Egypt as part of a delegation sponsored by the U.S. Department through Legacy International. And while in Egypt, he was able to share best practices in youth workforce programming and exchange ideas with our industry leaders. His trip is a testament to the fact that the Department of Employment Services Office of Youth Programs offers world-class opportunities to the district's young people. And we look forward to discussing further with you today. Thank you, Councilmember Bonks.
Thank you very much for that very strong overview. I want the public to have to digest the many opportunities that the government makes available to our young people. And through your presentation this morning, I am very hopeful that parents and even some of the young folk will pay very strong attention if they have not registered yet for the programs. I'm hoping that they will look forward to being a participant next year. But there's still time, as you indicated, for the school year intern program, and would love to see many more apply for that. Now, you mentioned, Madam Director, that you had about 1,000 participants in last year, FY20, or are participating now through the program ended in May. Am I correct?
Correct. That's for our school year internship program.
Okay, that's the school year intern. Okay, so this program, you had about 1,000. Did you have about 1,000 participants this past?
That's correct. We've had about 1,000 young people apply for. We've had over 3,000 applications and about 1,000 young people participate in the school year internship program. We had 72 host sites across the city. And we're really excited that young people are interested in not just earning a wage, but taking some time after school, of course, after they complete their studies, to get some valuable career experience.
So with this school year intern program, can you give us some idea of what some of these host sites are and how do they work with the young person? What are some of the duties that these our young people have when they participate in the school year internship program?
Sure. So our host sites include community-based organizations. They include DC government agencies, but like your office and the Department of Employment Services. And interns do typical internship duties. They may be responsible for administrative tasks. They may be responsible at a community-based organization, be working in an after-school program, supporting nonprofits through administrative tasks. So it's identical to any internship program that you would even imagine and think about.
All right. Well, let me ask then, has there been a push from your agency to assure that we would have an internship opportunity in all of the different agencies of DC government? Thinking about agencies that perhaps had not thought about it, maybe like the Department of Energy and the Environment, thinking about the number of volunteer opportunities that they have. And it certainly makes sense, as we are very concerned in this community about climate change, that we might want to look at that agency in particular. But I'm just wondering, how forceful are we at getting the government, the local government, to participate in this important program?
So Councilmember Bonds, I am the director of the DC Department of Employment Services, but I am also a job developer. And I keep saying I'm going to make your office job developers as well. So we'll all recruit, internship host sites for this program. I think we have a collective responsibility, but we've pushed pretty hard. Matter of fact, I've had an opportunity to share at cabinet meetings about SYEP and signing up. An email actually went out to all directors of the mayor's cabinet, asking them to sign up. Not just for SYEP, but we always have a multitude of internship opportunities. So we'll continue to beat the drum about the importance of having DC government agencies. Now, let me give DOEE a plug, because DOEE, I think, is a shining example of what a DC government agency partnership could look like. They actually started the Solar Works program, which we run out of DCIA. But they started first with the Summer Youth Employment Program. So before there was a DCIA, there was Solar Works with SYEP. So they're actually a great example of trying to get young people, especially from communities that may not have knowledge of opportunities in green jobs, but they've been a great partner for us.
I'm very glad to hear that, and especially when you spoke of the East of the River Career Pathways Program for 18 to 24-year-olds. Now, I think you didn't give us the age for school year internships, but I'm assuming these are younger individuals, probably 14 to 18 primarily.
Actually, it's 14 to 21.
Okay.
This is something that our agency has been doing for years. The name of the school year internship program has changed a bit over the years, but it's really part of the rich legacy of DOES and of Marion Barry, who first encouraged the agency to embrace this idea of giving youth a job. But it's ages 14 to 21.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that. We're just going to take a quick 5-minute break and get right back to you on this. Can we do that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll do that.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we can resume our opportunity to talk with the director. We were talking about the school year internship program, which is available to young people, DC residents 14 to 21 years of age. And last school year, we were lucky to have almost 1,000 participants. And so the new school year will open in October. Is that correct?
That's correct. We'll start in October, but applications are open now. So applications are open now. They opened in May. They will close on Saturday, July 1st. So we're 2 weeks away from having the application close. And we want all young people who are eligible to participate. That means they have to be a DC resident, enrolled in a DC school between the ages of 14 and 21 to sign up now.
All right. And that, when you say enrolled in a DC school, it also applies to our adult charter schools, I would assume.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. All right. Great.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about this exciting service, the Middle School Exploration Program. What is that?
So, council member, I don't want to get too far ahead of our announcement next week that the mayor will be making, but you know, this really builds on the legacy of Mayor Marion Barry in trying to provide young people with an opportunity to learn some value and foundational skills and earn some money. And so we'll be expanding our SYEP reach and offering young people between the ages of 9 and 13 an opportunity to have a career exploration camp. But there's more to come next week when we make a formal announcement. And I'm really, really excited about this pilot program. We've done it. We did it a year prior. We'll do it again. And I think it's a really, just a major enhancement in capacity for the SYEP program.
All right. And so I'm assuming it would be available during summer months as opposed to school year.
That's correct. It's not a school year program. It is a summer program. There is general information on our website, summerjobs.dc.gov, where people who are watching can learn more about it. I recommend folks go to our website and check it out. It's just a summer activity, but we think it's going to bring something new and exciting to the program and reach a population that we know, both you and I know, needs to be reached. So,
and will it be run through DOES or through the Parks and Recreation? Because I know they have summer camps as well.
Yeah, so this is a program run for the DC Department of Employment Services. It's not as much of a camp as it is career exploration for a period of time during the summer, where young people have an opportunity to earn at the same time as they learn about work. But it's run through DOES.
All right. Well, I am looking forward to learning more about that and not trying to preempt the mayor's notice for sure. But certainly I hope that I'll have an opportunity to participate, to meet some of the young folk. So please put us on one of the list of stop-ins. I'm assuming that there'll be, if you're talking about different careers, they'll get to see a variety of opportunities that are available.
We have some pretty exciting things in store. We'll make sure that you're on the list. Maybe we can do a day long of tours. And we have to have you when we celebrate the 44th year at the end of the summer. We're already talking about the 45th year. So we will make sure you and your staff and other members of the committee have all that information.
Thank you very much. Now, just going down the list, out of school program, what does that mean when young people and their parents, guardians see out of school program? What is that?
Sure. So our out of school youth programs focus on young people who are not engaged in traditional K-12 day program. So this could be a young person who may be in a GED program or an adult, a young adult between the ages of 18 and 24.
Okay. And tell us about the program from the perspective of what are the requirements of a program participant?
Sure. So you have to be a DC resident to enroll into the program. And it's pretty simple and straightforward, just like enrollment in our other programs. We do conduct what we call like an objective assessment. I'm going to use the term assessment, but we get a general sense of what the young person is interested in because we want to make sure we connect them with a training opportunity that not only meets their needs, but also something that they have an interest in. Then let me explain a little bit about what the model is as well. In our out of school youth program, it's one part training where we build foundational essential skills. That's, making sure you get to work on time, making sure, you understand the importance of work ethic, those sorts of essential job readiness, what to wear, at a work site. It's also one part occupational skills. So we have young people who go into training to learn a hard skill. It could be in the traditional trades, could be in IT, it could be in an emerging field like security and public safety. And then the final component is career a career internship. So you get actual on-the-job work experience. All of this happens while earning a wage. So young people don't have to worry about choosing between participating in training and earning at the same time. So this is a model that's similar to all of the programs that we run here in the agency.
All right. And so a tough question. The programs we talked about thus far, the summer youth employment, the in-school or the school year internship program, the Youth Leadership Institute, and the middle school exploration program that's coming online soon. And now the out of school youth program. How are they funded? Are they funded with local dollars? Or are they funded with federal dollars? Or is it a combination?
It is a combination of funding sources for these various programs. So let's just, let me see if I can, if I got committed to memory all of the list. For the summer youth employment program, it's generally funded by local, and there is some ARPA funding that's supporting that program as well. For the East of the River program, currently ARPA funding is being used to support that program. For our out of school youth program and how we define the out of school youth program, it's federally funded from the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, also known as WIOA. For the MBYLI program, it's locally funded. And did I miss one other one?
The out of school youth program, the one we were just speaking of for the 18 to 24.
That's WIOA.
Okay.
And then the middle school is local.
Okay, middle school is local. The institute, Leadership Institute, is that local also?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And one activity we did not talk about, the east of the river, you're saying that's federal dollars.
That's ARPA funded, which, I mean, it's federal.
Yeah. And I asked that question because we got a very interesting inquiry the other day from an organization that is putting together a report on how we have spent our U.S. labor dollars. And the report was making it very clear that their findings are that the WIOBA money has not been spent, and they wanted to know if we were returning WIOBA money to the federal government and how much. And I thought that I needed to have a clear understanding of what is the WIOBA money that we received, and looking at the federal report where some of their information was gathered, it certainly implied that we had not spent down all of the federal dollars. And so I wanted to inquire of you what's going on with that.
Sure. So the WIOA funding, I anticipate, will be spent across our WIOA grants. Now, I've only talked about so far grants that are youth and young people facing, but we both know that WIOA expands and is more than a youth grant. Actually, the smallest amount of the WIOA funds is for youth compared to its other allowable uses. I think it's important to note that there's a 3-year allocation for the WIOA grant. So we have 3 years to spend down on the grant funds. Federal grants management is actually the thing that makes me, one of the very few things that makes me very excited. And so I have my finger on the pulse of what's happening with our WIOA funds. I anticipate that we will expend nearly all of the money that's on the WIOA grants, and don't anticipate lapsing any substantial or sizable portion of the grants.
So is it your understanding that in the event we do not spend it all, we will have to return the balance to the federal government?
The balance would be returned on the funding, on the program year funding that's set to expire. The program year funding that's set to expire is actually PY20. But I anticipate that we will spend down the majority of the grant. I'm looking at leaving very few dollars on the table.
Okay, so what have you set as the deadline for spending all of the WIOBA money?
So the federal fiscal year ends June 30th. So there's a 90-day obligation or liquidation period. So essentially all the funds have to be obligated by June 30th. We have 90 days to liquidate and close out the grant. It's a rule of thumb in federal grants management. So we'll complete those activities, but June 30th, end of the fiscal year, 90 days from the end of the federal fiscal year to close out the grants.
Okay, all right. So you're anticipating spending every penny.
That's my goal.
Money.
That's my goal.
All right. I just wondered if I was going to have the situation where I had to respond back on this inquiry and say, well, we are returning $2.16. Or what have you. So I thought I would inquire.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have a better sense the closer we get to June 30th, regarding our expenditures and any potential balance that will be left on the table. But I think we're in a good place. And right now, I don't have major flags regarding returning any federal funds. One of the things, Councilmember Bonds, I think it's important for folks to remember, and I think maybe some helpful context when talking to these folks that you're speaking with about this report, is that it is a 3-year grant. And so it is not a strategy that's often used by state workforce agencies to spend the entire allocation of a 3-year grant in year 1. We take 3 years to spend the grant, That is the strategy that is used. And so you won't find likely a state workforce agency in this country that would spend the entire allocation in a year.
Yes, I'm aware of that, and I looked at what they were tracking, and they have been tracking the expenditures over the last 2 years, and therefore have made an assumption that there's an accumulation of monies that have not been allocated thus far, and so that was the nature of their comments. So I will get back to them, and I will share more with you about it. Because you are the implementer, and I respect that role that you have, and want to make sure that as a government we're working together. Anytime any group is outside of our government is inquiring, I think it's very important that we as a government can give the whole picture, as opposed to bits and pieces. Or I'm not interested in editorializing. I'm only interested in us getting the information out that people might, find of value to on these matters. Let me ask you about this Office of Youth Programs Roadmaps. What is that?
So I believe it's a document that we put together probably maybe 4 years ago. I may have been overseeing the Office of Youth Programs when we put it together. And I think it's I know it's a blueprint of youth programming, and talks about from a 50,000-foot career pathways and youth programming. It's a dated document. I believe it's a few years old.
Mm-hmm. And this document, is there something in the works at your shop that would update that? I asked because all of these documents are somehow on your website. And one of the things that I've discovered, I was looking over COG's website this morning because I chair the air quality committee, and I was, very interested. It only goes back to 2021, and we've done quite a bit since then. So I'm now looking at websites to just determine what kind of information are we disseminating to the community, and can we be a little more contemporary in that. So if you would take a look at that,
Sure.
we would greatly appreciate it. And then let us know if there's some thought about updating it or just removing it from the website.
Sure, I will take a look at it, and I will get back to you about any potential updates we may want to make to it.
All right. And with you're saying it's 4 years, approximately 4 years old. So I would assume that the resources to put this program together, or this document, were local funds, or were they federal funds?
I think we did it with federal funds. If I recall, now I'm going back in time. If I recall, I believe we did it probably with a combination of local and federal funds. We created it to serve as a blueprint on the services and pathways that young people could take to access programs, but I believe it was both locally and federally funded.
Okay. You also have something, I guess, on the website that talks about career opportunities. And then there's another caption, grant opportunities. Can we talk a little bit about career opportunities and who would qualify, what age category or what circumstances does an individual have to be facing in order to deal or become a part of the career opportunities?
Sure. So the career opportunities tab in the About DOES portion of the DOES website, is actually what we use to recruit for vacancies in our agency. So it's not necessarily directly related to youth programming. It's to fill vacancies in our agency. And I believe the last posting is likely related to a job fair that we held in the spring, trying to recruit people to work for the agency.
All right, that's great to know. So anyone listening, if you're interested, go and look at career opportunities at DOES. There may be something that piques your interest and that you have some skill set, and you will maybe find a new opportunity to serve the community.
Councilmember Bonds, we also post our positions on careers.dc.gov. We also post positions frequently on LinkedIn. And so if folks at home are watching, they can also look those places as well.
Okie doke, thank you. Are there any particular categories that you're hard to find, positions that you're looking for now?
Well, right now we're in a very interesting place because we do have layoffs that will unfortunately occur due to the result of the ARPA spending winding down. So the positions we have vacant in the agency, we're looking to fill them internally first with people who may be impacted by the ARPA grant winding down.
Okay, that's appropriate, and thank you for doing that. We like to keep those who are working.
We do.
So thank you for that. Grant opportunities, what is that about?
So grant opportunities lists how people can either A, submit a proposal to us for consideration, or B, respond to an RFP that we have put out to the general public.
And what is the usual, or do you have a cycle for receipt of proposals? Do you customarily request them annually or twice a year, or is it?
Yep. So annually, we put out a notice of funding available. It's a general notice, and it's based on the amount of money that we think we'll have available and we will make available through grants. The annual NOFA that we put out lists all of the areas of consideration that we're willing to accept a proposal from the general public, or we know we'll have a future solicitation for. It also provides directions on how to submit a grant.
And the grant opportunities are paid with local, or is it a combination, local and federal dollars?
It's a combination of both.
Okay, this is a common. All right. Okay, very quickly, I just wanted to get an update on some of the areas that we previously discussed about the summer youth employment program. And let's start with, we're talking money, dollars and cents. The program budget for this year, which is considered the FY23 year, is what? How much have you budgeted to spend on the program this year?
$27.9 million.
All right. And I would imagine in preparation for it, you've already spent a little.
Oh, of course, yes. I mean, the 27.9 million includes PS dollars used to run the program. There's contracts, there's human care agreements, there's grants. So yes, absolutely, we've been spending.
How much in grants have you spent thus far? Do you know?
I don't think I have that number in front of me. I will see if we can pull it. If not, we'll follow up.
Great.
with you. I can share with you, though, that our largest expenditure is participant wages. The bulk of the funding for this program, and when I mean bulk, well over 60%, maybe close to 70% of the funding dedicated to this program is to pay the wages of youth.
Okay, can we get by the end of next week? I guess, what is that, by the 22nd? We'll set a list of the contracts and the grants that have already been transacted for this program.
Yep, we can provide that. We'll also provide our projected for those that haven't been finalized, because we're in the 11th hour, so we're trying to get everything done. We'll send our projected spending level as well on contracts and grants.
And would you include in that any estimates that you have for expenditures for food? We're very excited that you can now provide food. So want to make sure that we are on top of that as well.
Sure. Now, Councilmember, I do want to manage your expectations that, I don't want folks to think that we're going to have a large lunch program here because we haven't secured that level of funding. And the next budget will ask for an additional appropriation dedicated to food. But we will find a way to show what we may be spending on food. But again, it will be limited, where we have not planned a large, like summer meals program.
Yes, I'm not expecting you to serve school breakfast and school lunch. I mean, I recognize that many of those who participate are probably participants in the free lunch program. But I am hoping that we'll be able to help them, because it's been the usual when these young folk leave their jobs, their summer jobs, and by the time they get to the recreation centers, the food's gone.
Yes.
Because
Understood.
they also fed those that were in those programs. So I just am really trying to figure out how can we help these young people at least get some nutrients in them, because they won't remember later in the day. They tend to, be busy with their friends and what have you. So trying to make sure.
Understood. And I do need to confirm with my LEDGE team, because I think we may need the emergency signed off on before we can begin implementing. We should confirm.
Yes, yes. That is correct. Yeah.
We're balancing, the program, the budget available, and then having the emergency legislation signed.
We are so hopeful that it will be signed this week. So you can, at least have a few days to plan for and to execute. Yes, of course. Thank you for that. And we'll push a little bit from this location also, see if we can't make sure it gets signed expeditiously. Also, the program, you had talked a little bit about the learning objectives, earning money. Given that we are trying to present the whole picture, very quickly tell us what each category of employee will receive in the way of remittance. We know that by age you receive a different amount of money.
Okay, the wages. So for SYEP, our 14 and 15-year-olds make $6.25 an hour. Our 16 to 21-year-olds make $9 an hour, and our 22 to 24-year-olds make minimum wage, which today is $16.10, but on July 1, we'll have a new minimum wage of $17 an hour.
All right, and so your budget is probably calculated on $17 an hour.
Yeah, that's correct. It's calculated for I think 3 days of 1610 and the rest of the summer is
Oh,
17
wow.
an hour.
Okay, so tell me then, how many young people do you have signed up in the 18 to 24 category?
So in the 18 to 24 category, let me see if I have that number. Because I know we have over 20,000 applications. And we're going to serve 14,195. Let me find up how many,
Okay.
and someone will have the answer to me soon.
All right, you're gonna serve 14,000, but you have 20,000 that registered.
That's right. That's
So
right.
what's the pecking order? Who gets dropped?
Great question. So it's based on who certifies their enrollment. So there is an enrollment process. It's the application first, then you have to provide supplemental and supporting documentation for your application. And that's where we usually see a fall off and attrition. And so after the certification occurs, that's who is able to go into the program full time. So we are currently accepting and working with DC public schools and charter schools to get young people to certify. We have over 14,000 young people who have certified. We will add some more up until the end of the program. But Councilmember, I also think it makes sense as part of that drop off. We do have young people that choose to do other things. They may choose to go to camp. They may choose to work a full-time job on their own outside of the summer youth employment program. They may be engaged in an activity at their school or traveling abroad. So young people who don't complete the process, there are multiple reasons, but the biggest reason we see is not completing the certification and enrollment process.
All right, and
we have 11,148 eligible 16 to 21-year-olds.
Okay.
Who've applied for the program.
Okay, so these are the 16 to 21-year-olds. And some are getting $9 an hour and some are getting will get 17.
Correct. Our 16 through 21-year-olds get $9 an hour. Our 22 to 24-year-olds get $16.10. Now, not to make this any more confusing, we do have special partnerships, council member, which those organizations, and we have quite a few federal organizations that are paying an increased wage to their interns. They're paying $20 an hour to their interns. And those are special exceptions. Those are host sites that have come to the table and said, we're happy to be a partner and we want to add additional funding because we believe in the vision of the Marion Barry Summer Youth Employment Program. So I wanted to add that note because we do have some jobs that pay a higher wage.
Oh, that's fantastic. Congratulations to you on that. That's a big accomplishment. So you're saying the 16 to 21-year-olds, you have 11,148 that have certified in that age category?
That are eligible, that have
Yes.
applied. They may not have certified, but they're eligible to work. So they've at least applied. And remember, this is just a point in time. So that number fluctuates. So it could go up later today.
Okay. How many do you have that applied that are in the 14, I guess you count them 14 and 15-year-olds?
We have approximately 6,400 14 and 15-year-olds that have applied for the program.
Okay. And of the 16 to 21 age group, you have 11,000. And of the 22 to 24, how many have applied?
2,155. But we have a cap on the number of 22 and 24-year-olds we can serve. That cap is currently 900.
900?
Mm-hmm.
And so that sounds like that group needs hopefully they're getting the message that if they have an alternative, it might be a better, fix for them this year. Because if you have 2,100 already, you only have 900 slots,
Mhm.
we're going to have some disgruntled young adults. So what do we do with that kind of situation? Is there a way to get them into adult training or?
Absolutely. And, my goal is to make sure that none of the young people are disgruntled and that there's a training opportunity for everyone. So, we have Project Empowerment, we have DC Career Connections, we have our out of school youth programs. We can help young people who come through the American Job Center, who are 21, 22 years old, and help connect them to an opportunity or training. But we try to make sure that everyone who comes to DOES seeking an opportunity walks away with an opportunity.
Tell us about the outer school program. How does that work?
Sure. So the out of school youth program, and I explained a little earlier the model that we have. But essentially a young person can come to the American Job Center, or they can work with any of our grant funded partners. We also take referrals from DHS, DYRS, the ONES office, but we get our referrals from multiple sources, and they submit an enrollment application. They state their interests, which could be training or maybe going directly to work, and then we try to connect them with an opportunity.
Okay, and so for these let's say you fill your 900 slots from your 2,100 applicants.
Mm-hmm.
So the balance, the 1,200 that are left over, do you automatically invite them to look at the out of school youth program?
Yeah, and yes, so yes, we do send email communication asking them, are they interested, inviting them to job fairs, inviting them to training and career fairs. And we do get a pretty sizable number of people who are interested, and we have over the course of the years.
Okay. I know that, with graduation, there are a number of young adults in our community that will be in the job market because they've graduated. So they're looking for permanent jobs, but they're can be in this age category. How do we work with them if they are looking, but they don't know how to look, so to speak?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And Councilmember, the one thing we didn't talk about yet, that we always talk about is apprenticeship.
Yes,
how could I leave apprenticeship off?
That. We're saving time for that. That is so important. You're correct.
Yeah. So, apprenticeship is an option too for our graduating seniors. And we missed you this year, but we will most definitely try to catch you next year. But, we had our signing day. We had high school seniors who signed offer letters and letters of intent to become an apprentice. And that is a very viable, career pathway. But here's what we do. Okay. We work with DCPS, we work with charter school counselors. We make ourselves available to talk about the sort of programming that we have here in the agency. And throughout the summer, we host training and enrollment fairs. We host job fairs. We blast all of this information on all of our social media channels. So that's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So we can try to catch everyone that we can, and ask them to come in and engage us on whatever activity that we're promoting at that time.
Okay, so a young person can just, if they remember, to go to the DOES website or to, I think you gave us information about careers.dc.gov. If they go to either one of those sites, they will be able to access opportunities that are available. Am I correct?
They can go to does.dc.gov. They can come to any of the American Job Centers. We have one on Minnesota Avenue, which is headquarters, Bertie Backus. Let's see, Wilkinson, which is where Wilkinson Elementary School, which is where DCIA is on Pomeroy Road. Reeves Center, how can I forget the Reeves Center? And explain to any workforce development specialist that they're interested in training, they're interested in a job, and that's how you get the ball rolling. From there, we figure out the interest, what they want to do, what their skill set is, and then we make some recommendations. But that's the best way to do. You can come in person, or you can go to the American Jobs or website. I have to say that you can visit apprenticeship.dc.gov if you're a young person or an adult and you want to learn about apprenticeship opportunities that we currently have.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Getting back to these age groups and the finances, you indicated for the 16 to 21-year-olds, you have applications from about 11,000. And you have how many slots do you anticipate filling from that age group?
So let me see here. So we have 11,488 16 to 21-year-old applicants, and there is no ceiling on a certain age group other than our 22 to 24-year-olds, which is 900. So every year the number fluctuates. We could have 5,000 14 and 15-year-olds. Maybe, that was that year of birth was a slower year than the year prior. But the only cap that we have is the 900 for the 22 to 24-year-olds.
Okay, that's great to know. And I would imagine the same situation for those that are 14 and 15-year-olds, no cap on that. And you received already 6,400 applications.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
And as you said, the excitement is that now if you are, I think you said 9 to 13-year-olds will be able to pick up some change, learn a skill, have the exposure.
Yes.
And this is exciting. I'm looking forward to learning about that.
I'm excited too, and more details to come in the next few days.
All right. All right. And my apologies for not, I don't think I really knew about the apprenticeship with high schoolers. And I think there was some mixed information, or maybe that was when we were doing another hearing. But something happened, because you are right. I would have loved to have been there. And I commit early being there next year.
Very good. Very good.
Definitely. Very important. When you talk about skills, attitudes, and commitment, this is what is sort of like the learning package for those who participate in the summer youth employment program. Are there some very specific attitudinal changes or attitudinal, is there a curriculum that they're to follow where it's hard and fast, or is it that subjectively it will kind of happen? It'll kind of ooze out of everything else. Just one.
Well, no, we do want there to be some sort of osmosis and ooze out of and learn from, their host site employer or internship manager or mentor. But yes, and I call them competencies. There are competencies that we want young people to learn while in the program. We have a really dynamic and fantastic software that we use called Career Edge. It's interactive, but it allows young people to receive their entry level foundational skill orientation to SYEP. So not only do you get the basic information about the Summer Youth Employment Program, but you also get basic information about core competencies, what's appropriate to wear in the workplace. What's appropriate, we may have some young people who may be in a hybrid program because not every workplace is returned back to in person, but what's appropriate, virtual meeting, behavior, showing up to work on time. Those are the sort of competencies that it's important we build and instill in young people today that will carry them throughout their life. So yes, core competencies on what I call essential skills. It doesn't matter if you're at work or in the library or at school. You got to understand the importance of coming to work on time or being somewhere on time, dressing appropriately, speaking with someone with respect, shaking a person's hand and looking them in the eyes. Those are essential skills, but we also want them to, through osmosis in the summer, learn valuable lessons in the workplace.
Okay, and so for the core competencies, is there a time that, is this something that is introduced on the first day of the first week? Is there a video or something that young people must, partake of, and then maybe complete a survey, just trying to understand what are we really doing with our young people? And because I want us to be able to engage their parents and their guardians to ask questions about these things that they're learning.
Sure.
So that, the whole family is aware that this is not just about earning money. This is about youth development, growth.
Yeah, and so it starts at the application phase when they get access to Career Edge. That's when it starts. And we make the Career Edge curriculum and portal and software available throughout the entire summer. Our host sites also have access to it as well. And so they can see what young people are learning. I will find a way to try to share with you some of the lessons that we have in Career Edge, but as early as January when the application opens, and it stays open and available to the young people through the end of the summer.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. Let's see. You provided us with some information about your hybrid work sites. Oh, and first, let me thank AOBA, the Association of Building, Apartment Building Association in particular, about joining and following up on a request that I made. I asked them to please get involved, and I see that some additional sites came on: Borgers Residential, Jesse's Variety Shop, SAR Construction Group LLC, and the John Eldridge Management Company. So I really want to thank them, because I was pushing. I said, listen, you have trades that we want our young folk to experience and be a part of, because you have this is job opportunities for them into the future. So thank you for that.
And let me thank Eric Jones too. I think, was Eric Jones working with
Eric Jones, yes, and Caitlin Peters, yes.
Yes. Eric Jones is always supporting the Summer Youth Employment Program. And so thank you, Eric, if he's watching. Thank you for always being a supporter. I'll have to make sure to text him to go back and watch this. The hybrid, well, let me start first with hybrid, and then we can go into our newest partnership with AOBA. On the hybrid, we have Out of 700 work sites, we have approximately 160 that are offering some sort of hybrid option, about 53 CBOs, 65 from the private sector, about 20 or so grantees, and 18 to 20 contracts. We do have some federal sites that continue to remain 100% virtual. Our position on the federal agencies, we want them to be at work, but we do have a few agencies that are 100% virtual. So that means young people will have, at the hybrid sites, an opportunity to show up to work in person and work remotely as well. Now, with AYOBA, and I again thank you as well, that this is an example of why I think we're all job developers, right? Because your office saw an opportunity and seized the moment, and then we tried to come in and close the deal. And now, because of it, young people will have an opportunity to intern and have some, what I think could be really valuable, summer work experience. But that's the sort of partnerships that we want to continue to have. And I believe it squarely aligns with Mayor Marion Barry's vision for this program.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. I was just wondering, do we have on the list, because, and could I please get a list of the employers? I would like to have a sense of who is saying yes. I promise you, I will not forcefully engage with those that are not on the list to get them on the list for next year. But
I think it's forthcoming, and that's my fault because the team sent it to me and I just approved it. But I think that's coming to your staff. If it didn't already get sent, it's going to be sent after this meeting.
Okay, good, because I want to know if the bids are on this list, and if the we also have there are a couple of other associations that are in and around and doing things. And then I wonder if some of the more engaged advisory neighborhood commissions are, helping to identify work sites. So that's where my head is, trying
I understand.
infiltrate the entire, ecosystem of DC and make sure we get our young people an opportunity.
We do have bids, Jaron Price, I claim all these folks as DOES alumni, but Jaron Price was MBSYEP. So we always have a fantastic supporter in Jaron Price. But the bids, we do have a few bids at our host sites, but we will share the list. Oh, and the Georgetown bid, thank you, and Georgetown bid as well. So we'll share the list, and we'll answer any questions after you've had an opportunity to review.
All right. Well, I thank you very much. I have been busy with just some thoughts I had. Now I'll move to the very quickly through our official questions. I think we may have covered some of them already. When we talk about the host sites, have you had an opportunity to look over the list enough to determine whether or not there were sites from the past that have dropped out of participating for this year?
I don't know if we've done that level of analysis, as we're in the throes of trying to get young people certified, but I think that might be something we could do towards the end of the summer. So why don't we follow back up with you, and then after the team has had an opportunity to do an analysis, we can share. I have them squarely focused on getting every single young person that they can possibly certify into a job this summer. And as soon as they're done with that, I'll turn them loose and they can do an analysis.
All right. Now, on these host sites, how many how many participants, or have you set a limit on the number of participants at any one host site?
So the limit is based on the capacity of the host site. And usually the host site provider will tell us what their capacity. Now, for our grant and contract funded host sites, they tell us what their capacity, and we know what the capacity is. We typically don't have over, and let me rephrase this. They tell us what the capacity is. There is a ratio of adults to youth. And so we monitor that closely, but capacity is driven by the host site.
Okay, all right. And I believe you gave us some strong details as to the monitoring process that you have in place, and the core team, at least youth programs office, visited with us and made it very clear that you have a very strong model in place for monitoring the work sites. And it's regionally designed, which is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, I think we learned a lot from that information. Okay, well, we will follow up to have a clear understanding as to when you have young people at the site, that there is a ratio of number of participants to I guess, a supervisor, I believe is the term that was used when we had our session with your team. Are there any wards or neighborhoods or schools that stand out as having more participants in the program that have, at this point, that have signed up, I guess, the applications?
So wards 5, 7, and 8 always have the highest number of applicants. And those wards stand out, have the highest number of applicants / youth. So those would be the 3 wards that stand out.
All right. And are they also the ones that stand out as meeting the certification?
Oh, so yes. I mean, by virtue of the highest number of enrollments coming from wards 5, 7, 8. So yes, those wards have the largest gap for certification for the program.
Okay, excellent. All right. And those are some of the neighborhoods that we especially want to reach. So that's very, very helpful. Are there any schools that stand out?
So I'm currently working with Dr. Farabee to make sure that all of our Ward 7 and 8 and 5 high schools, we have a point of contact for them, and that we're doing some additional on-site visits last week and this week. But, Ballou, Anacostia, let's see, Ballou, Anacostia, Jackson Reed, which ones? Okay, perfect. So I would say those are high schools that we're focused on trying to get, certification from. Keep in mind that we may have a sizable number of students who attend Jackson Reed from wards 5, 7, and 8 as well, which is why we're working with those schools to do in-person visits to get certification completed.
Yes, thank you for that. And you're 100% on the money with that. That's how our school system rolls, so to speak. What happens if a participant isn't matched with a host site? Let's say you run out of places that will accept our students.
Well, we don't really have that situation because we always tend to have more jobs than we do young people, or at least slots funded slots. So we typically have more jobs. We typically have more applications than we have funded slots. So that doesn't really happen. It doesn't really happen like that.
All right. Okay, well, I'm waiting for the day that we have more participants and we just need more locations. So that's, yeah, that would be wonderful. Love to get all of our young people in a work experience during the summer. So as of today, how many participants can start work on the 26th?
So as of today, I have approximately or a little over 14,000 young people that are ready to go and start June 26th. Now, as a matter of process and strategy here, we always certify more young people because we know attrition exists. So we'll continue to certify young people because we know more attrition exists. So we'll exceed more than 14,000 young people that'll be certified, but a little over 14,000 are ready to go come January, oh my goodness, come June 26th.
All right. And so you also indicated that for Jackson, Reed, Anacostia, and Ballou, that you will continue to work with the chancellor to see if you can get more of those students engaged, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, so that would add to this number if we can get them.
Correct.
Okay. So has the sign up period closed where the participant selects a work site?
So the way that it works is that a young person, as part of their application, selects their interest. And then we also have an in-person job fair where they can meet potential summer employers and host sites. And then after that, there is a match process that takes place. So the short answer to your question is yes. We have closed the application. Young people cannot go back and change what their career interest is. And the job fair has also ended. So there's not an opportunity right now to go back and change.
All right. So I guess when you talk about attrition, there may be some that are changed their mind. And so they didn't get where they thought they should be now. So, okay, I understand that. Okay.
But reach out to us if there is a challenge with host site selection. I think what we tend to see is that sometimes mom and dad have an idea and they help the student with the application. And then based on what maybe mom and dad or an adult that has helped the child, they've made some selections, then the young person may get a host site assignment. And that may be different than what they initially thought when they were going through and completing the application. But I say the best rule of thumb is to reach out to us if there's any kind of problem or concern and let us help to try to, facilitate a change where appropriate. Again, my hope is that we have the best experience possible for all of our interns.
Thank you. How do you assure that every participant has transportation to the sites?
Yes. So first of all, through Kids Ride Free, young people can use Kids Ride Free card as, a method to get to the host site. And then for young people who are not part of the Kids Ride Free program, we are actually having a fare card distribution, I think next week, the 24th, thank you, 24th. So they can pick up a fare card. The distribution, I believe, is here at DOES headquarters, 4058 Minnesota Avenue on June 24th.
All right. And so for the kids ride free, do they, if the school is not open, how do they get, or tell me how the kids ride free will be managed during the summer? Because
So young people have access to a fare card, and the fare card is good during the summer. It doesn't turn off, and young people can use the fare card. So it's not connected to the school per se.
excellent. Okay. Thank you for that.
And DDOT runs the Kids Ride Free program, and DDOT is also a very great partner when it comes to Kids Ride Free.
All right. Today, do you have any host sites where we do not have assigned participants?
Do we have any host sites where we don't have any signed participants?
Mhm.
No.
Okay. All right. What should a participant do if they encounter a problem at their host site, such as no supervision, no work assigned, poor treatment, an attitude issue, or just in general? And the same goes for the work site or the host. If they encounter difficulty with their assigned participant.
So we want youth to tell a trusted adult and contact us or contact us. The trusted adult should contact us as well. We have a general email that we have multiple people checking emails day in and day out, even on the weekends. summerjobs@dc.gov. If there's any issue or concern, they can reach us there. We also have a call center number, and I'm going to get that because I don't have that one committed to memory. And we have people that are taking calls to support the Summer Youth Employment Program. And so they can call us Monday through Friday during business hours, reach a live person, share their concern with SYEB. Thank you. It's 202-724-7000.
Okay. And the expectation then is that once they send an email or make a phone call, that we will follow up. Will we follow up within 7 days, or is there a time frame for follow-up?
We usually follow up 24 to 48 hours. My folks are very quick. And so 24 to 48 hours, if there is a concern regarding safety, a serious issue, we want people to contact us immediately. So 202-724-7000, summerjobs@dc.gov. They could also come to the agency. We prefer that folks try to reach us in those two methods first, but the agency is open between 8:30 and 5 p.m. Monday through Friday.
All right. And remind us, please, how frequently a DOES staff visits each host site.
Sure. So I have about 20 host site monitors. They have anywhere between 50 and 60 host sites, and I believe they make 2 to 3 visits per summer, and they make themselves available to their hosts. I would say it's quite common that majority of our host sites have no issues. We don't hear from them other than us just saying hello and checking in. But our host sites should feel comfortable reaching out to their host site monitor for support.
And one of the biggest questions, I guess, for any young person who's watching and their parents or guardian is, when should participants expect their first paycheck?
Great question. So the first paycheck will be, let's see, July 12th. So if you start work on June 26th, your first paycheck you should expect July 12th. And the good news is on the summer jobs, www.summerjobs.dc.gov, in the participant handbook, you should open the handbook. There's a PDF document on the website and it lists all of the pay dates. But Wednesday, July 12th is the first pay date if you start work on June 26th.
All right. And so with this first paycheck, they will be paid with a money card. Is that correct?
Well, we want all young people to be banked. So we prefer that young people have a bank account. And we offer through a partnership with the DC Federal Credit Union, a non-custodial account where young people can sign up for a savings account. So that's our first preference. If there's a young person that is interested in opening a bank account and they have their bank account and routing number, they should go into the portal and their portal and put their banking information in. If not, they can be paid on it's like a prepaid Visa pay card, and the money will be deposited there for their use.
Okay. One of the questions that I got in the community is what happens or how should we provide, and how do we provide security for those who may have the prepaid card, take it to an ATM and are attempting to use it? Is there anything we can do to guarantee their safety? Because young people frequently want what the other one has. I'm trying to use the right words for this.
I think I understand. I mean, we ask all people to follow what I think are very common and basic personal safety practices. Don't walk around with a wad of cash waving it around. Don't walk around with your debit card out advertising you got your debit card. Access your access an ATM in a well-lit, safe location. Don't give out your PIN number or your debit card to someone else. Unfortunately, we don't have the means to offer security while young people are using their debit cards or trying to access their debit cards, but we do want people to take a very practical approach to their personal safety.
All right, and I think that's fair. I couldn't figure out how we could manage that either, so had a hard time trying to figure out how do we construct this question, knowing that it is a concern, and at the same time, just how far can government go on some of these issues? We have limited capacity, but I wanted to at least let you know that that has been a concern expressed. What should a participant do if there are any issues with receiving their pay? Should they call the 724-7000 or send an email? What should they do? Is there anything else they need to do?
There are three things you can do. You can call 202-727-7000 and option 202-724-7000. 202-724-7000 is the number you should call. We'll make sure that we share all of this information with your office. So you can call, you can email summerjobs@dc.gov, and you can come to the agency between the hours of 8:30 and 5, where we will have open office hours to support people who may have payroll concerns or issues.
All right. And on the payroll issue, if they show up at your office with the expectation that somehow their pay will be made readily available to them, what is the time frame? Do they wait a week or do they have to wait till the next pay period to get the difference that was not on there?
That's a great question, because I do want to manage people's expectations. We do not cut checks at DOES. So you cannot come to, and we are not a bank. So we hold no cash. We do not cut checks. You cannot expect that from us if you come to the agency. What you can expect is a workforce development specialist, a grant monitor, or a DOES staff to professionally greet you, hear your concern, take down your information, be able to look up your payroll and what your payroll, where your deposit's been made, and try to help determine what the issue may be. Depending on the nature of the issue, the matter could be resolved, between 2 to 3 business days and the next pay period. And remember, the next pay period is 2 weeks. So again, it depends on the nature of the issues. We do try to issue a payroll resolution as quickly as possible.
So the important thing too is to understand that as a participant, that individual will receive 3 paychecks. Am I correct? For the 6 weeks of,
let's see, 4. Wednesday, July 12th, Wednesday, July 26th, Wednesday, August 9th, and then Wednesday, August 16th, the week before most young people go back to school.
All right. Okay, very good. Very quickly, can we just talk a minute about the school year internship program?
Sure.
I think the salary for this is about $10 an hour, and it 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, or what are the?
That's correct. $10 an hour. They work a total of 8 hours a week for each young person.
Okay. And how are they paid?
The same way they're paid for SYEP.
All right. Okay. Every 2 weeks, in other words.
Yes.
Okay, from beginning in October through May of the school year. And what is the application process? Is it similar to the summer youth program, or is it different?
It absolutely is similar to the summer youth program. Applications opened in May. They will close Saturday, July 1st. The program will start in October. You have to complete an application in order to participate. We only have 1,000 slots. And last year we had over 3,000 applications. So, we encourage people to apply as quickly as possible, certify your enrollment and application. You got to prove you're a DC resident. You can't get out of that. This is for DC residents, but do everything that you need to do to certify. And, we will enroll you into the program. We do only have 1,000 slots. So it's important that I say that.
All right. Can you explain the at-risk student pilot that you're doing this year?
Most of our young people are at risk, so I'm not sure it's a special pilot. Can you say more? Maybe I'm thinking of we're talking about another program.
It was our understanding that there was some push to particularly get at-risk students involved in this program because it's year-round. And I don't know if that means at risk by virtue of the terminology as we use it for school enrollment, because at risk tends to mean free lunch program, et cetera, et cetera. Or if it means at risk in maybe safety as a point, so that's why I was curious about any emphasis you were putting on at risk and what the pilot might include?
Yes. Okay. So priority PSAs, at risk for safety, public safety related concerns. We try to prioritize enrollment. We will try to prioritize enrollment based on that set of criteria. So priority PSAs, public safety flags, referrals from other sister agencies. We're going to try to prioritize enrollment there.
So are we saying that we're going to work with the Office of Gun Violence, maybe with the one's office to identify, or with the Cure the Streets models to identify neighborhoods or young people? I understand there are about 200 young people that have been identified through the CJCC that may be at harm of being a perpetrator or a victim. So I wondered just what this meant.
Yeah, so we partner with ONES, DYRS, DCPS, also DHS, and any foster care youth in wards of the state. We partner as well. And so those are the groups that we are talking to. DDS, RSA, youth with special needs. So that's what we're thinking of in terms of at-risk populations.
Okay, thank you. So that's great. And in this, have you, in your model, since this will be a pilot, have you determined how many you want to enroll from perhaps this classification of individuals?
So we don't have a number of slots that we're dedicating to at-risk youth. Many of the young people that we're currently serving have, this sort of at-risk criteria or characteristics already in place. We just want to be more intentional in how we recruit and accept referrals for young people that we do consider at risk.
All right. Well, enough said on that. Thank you. In the public oversight hearing, you responded to one of the questions, I think number 102, by indicating that 1916 youth, in other words, 1,916 youth between the age of 14 and 21 applied for the school year intern program. However, less than 400 were determined eligible. Can you help us understand why only 400 were eligible, and what does that really mean?
I will have to go back and look at the number or question 102 from the performance oversight hearing. I will tell you at a very high level that you have to complete the certification process for any of our programs in order to enroll. And the most substantive or important part of the certification process is determining DC residency. That is a key eligibility criteria to enroll and to have your application certified and accepted for enrollment. So it could be at the time we had young people who had not completed the certification process, but let me go back to question 102 from the performance oversight hearing and take a look at it.
I appreciate that, because the goal of the program in the written copy says is to help prepare district youth to successfully transition from high school into post-secondary education or advanced training or unsubsidized employment or a career in the military. And so I was just intrigued with, how do we how do we get this number? I can imagine that we can get, 2,000 young people that have dropped out of school or who decided something else, have not completed the process, or who are currently enrolled in alternative educational environments, as you have articulated earlier. But then when we are less than 400, we're determined eligible. I'm just wondering, are the requirements for this group of individuals too high? Is there something that we can do to examine why we would lose lion's share of the applicants?
I think we figured out that the funding level was different for last year than it was this year. And I'm going to get the budget and funding level that we had, but we had less applicants and the funding level was also less as well. So we'll confirm what the funding level is, but I believe that's the reason why.
All right, because if I'm not mistaken, this is one of the Wyola projects, which is the federal funding. And I'm back to just thinking about the questions that we have been asked. So yes, let's get together on that, make sure that we have the accurate information.
This project was not funded with federal funding. It was funded with local funding.
So it is not federally funded.
No.
This is local. Okay.
Yes. Yep. And I do have some data. The funding level was 350 for FY22. We actually served more than that. And then for FY21, the funding level was 250 and we served just slightly more than that.
Okay, so in each instance, you've served more than 400.
Correct. We've served more than the budgeted level in each instance. Okay. 250 was the funding level for FY21. We served 255. We only had 884 applicants, and our budget was $3,058,000. And FY22, we had my numbers show 394 young people. We had 1,900 applicants, and we had 3.3 million. So we had approximately $300 million more in FY22 than we did in 21. And then in 23, our service level was 1,000. We have over 1,300 that worked, and our budget was 5.6 million. So every year we've served more than what we were budgeted for. And you'll see the number of applications also begin to increase as we also increase the number of slots in the budget as well.
All right, that sounds excellent. Okay.
And it's only local funded, it's not federal funded.
So again, I want to make sure I'm accurate then. For the Wyola, the federal funding, that is used for the out of school youth program. And I believe the Office of Youth Programs Roadmap, we believe that was completed with that. And the East of the River Career Pathways Program. Those are the only uses of that money, correct?
The East of the River program is funded from ARPA, the American Recovery Plan Act. It's not a WIOA allocation, which is an entitlement from the Department of Labor.
Okay. All right, so it's really just the out of school youth program for the 18 to 24.
Yes.
That is
it's WIOA funded, yes.
Yeah, okay. And that's it. Okay. Oh, no. Okay.
And you do know that there is a cap on the percentage of funding that you can spend on in-school youth programs for WIOA. So even if we did put WIOA money to it, there's a cap. And the enrollment requirements for WIOA is much greater than what we require on locally funded programs.
Okay.
So it's advantageous to not use WIOA funding to support in-school youth because only a small, I have to go back and, I was carrying my WIOA book around with me yesterday or the day before, but I think it's 15%. One of the out-of-school youth people will have to confirm for me, or OY people have to confirm, but I think there's a cap of 15%, but we'll double check that.
Okay, all right, excellent. So when we talk about the WIOA money, we'll be talking about other programs. I would imagine, since you have used it as it relates to young people, here for the out-of-school youth programs, I would imagine has been generously used for the adult training programs.
Yes, so there's a WIOA youth allocation, but there's also a WIOA adult allocation and a dislocated worker allocation as well. And we use that for adults.
Okay, and it may be for, I think, seniors and veterans, so those classifications.
Yep, see, there is a federal grant for seniors. It's the CSEP program. Matter of fact, if I recall correctly, I think we have a grant solicitation that, or no, we have a new senior program, I think, that we're getting ready to launch in the next few weeks. I think it's a senior work experience program. And then, our veterans program is very, very active. We just held a regional job fair for vets here at headquarters on Minnesota Avenue. So our federal programs are robust and they're thriving.
Okay, well, please get me information about the senior work experience program. That is an area that is discussed when almost always when we are with our senior population. They want to continue to contribute.
We're going to have a grant solicitation go out soon. I will make sure Alex from my team notifies your team when it goes out. It's going to be $250,000 for organization, community-based organization, private sector organization to run an additional senior program. There will be wages. So for the seniors that sign up, there'll be training, there'll be paid wages and work experience. There'll be opportunity for career coaching and connecting with unsubsidized employment. So we're excited. As soon as that solicitation comes out, we'll share with you so you can see and forward to whomever you'd like.
Oh yeah, we one of the things that we're constantly asked about, how can our seniors help in the classrooms to just be that extra adult who is there to assist with, things that the instructor may be busy doing and not able to answer all of the questions. So I don't know if there's a thought that we can also do something like that, but we do have, DC is a community of many retired educators, and they want to continue. They try to pontificate on the corner and in the recreation centers, but they would love to be able to earn a little resource for some of what they feel very strongly about that our community needs. So
maybe that's something we can work together on in the future.
Yeah, that would be very helpful to many of them and to our school system, I do believe. So thank you for that. All right. Well, we pretty much exhausted our youth programs, except you're right, we did not talk about apprenticeship. But if you would like to tell us a little bit about the apprenticeship program for youth, that would be very helpful. We're happy to hear about it now, or we can wait until we examine the apprenticeship process that unfolds in the district.
I'll just say a couple of words. That, our apprenticeship program continues to grow. I'm really excited. I'm very proud of the work that the youth apprenticeship team has done. The Office of Apprenticeship has done. Parents, youth should look that we're going to have an MBSYEP pre-apprenticeship program. It will also start June 26th. Our lead organization is Youth Futures DC. We're going to have 100 young people between the ages of 18 and 24 that will focus on learning skills in computer science and information technology. The apprenticeship sponsor is Dynamic Radiance. So we're really excited. That's 100 more pre-apprenticeship youth opportunities, getting young people that closer to starting an apprenticeship career. So we'll have to set a date and a time, and you and I will have to go out and spend the whole day doing some site visits and check out what not just SYEP has to offer, but what apprenticeship has to offer. As always, thank you for your support, and I look forward to unpacking the apprenticeship process with you in a future hearing.
Oh, yeah, thank you very much. And I look forward to that kind of tour. I've had the opportunity to look at some of the traditional apprenticeship programs. Most of them are located out in Prince George's County, where they do the training. And every year that I visited over the past, I'll say 5 or 6 years, they have been very anxious to get a DC residents involved. Particularly, they wanted to get our schools involved. So perhaps now that we're talking more about trades and workforce, that will happen. And certainly, you probably are very familiar with them. Tend to be the building trades and electricians and et cetera. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much for today. For your time. I really appreciate it. And I thank you and your staff for participating in today's public roundtable. I hope that we have gleaned more information that the public can take advantage of, and know that our summer program is flourishing, about to grow big, with as many as maybe 14,000 young people at about 700 different work sites for the next 6 to 8 weeks. And so we look forward to the community embracing them and doing all that we can to make it a success for them as well. Thank you again. If the public would like to submit written testimony, please email it to seal@dccouncil.gov. And that CEAL is CEAL, and it will be included in the roundtable record. The record will close on Monday, the 26th of June at 5 p.m. And the committee's next meeting will be on Thursday, the 22nd. We will begin at 1:30 p.m. And this will be an opportunity for the public to share their thoughts on the Department of Employment Services. We are going to be focused also on the first source and the unemployment insurance. And so this concludes today's roundtable. And with that said, we can indicate the time is 1:04 p.m. on June 16th, 2023, and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.